Hey everyone, hopefully you're having a great day today. I'm going to do an energy analysis here. What I'm doing is I'm looking at renewable energies and oil just to see what the charts are telling us from a big long-term chart perspective. I'm seeing a lot of these things bounce off trend lines, and I'd like to show you guys what to expect, to be patient, and we want to watch these things play out as they develop. So I'm going to do a technical analysis on energy. So I call this presentation an energy analysis. So we're going to look at oil price, the gold to oil ratio, exploration companies that I follow. We're going to look at some service companies, energy service companies, and some renewable energy at the end. Now, like crude here, we are still bouncing in this channel, in a downtrend channel here. We popped to the downside of this channel, which was an incredible opportunity if you are watching it and you know ratios and you know a little bit of technical analysis. This is where I got really bullish, and I was buying right in here for a lot of the exploration companies because that's when they were doing that second bottom. Now we've pulled all the way up to the top side of this channel. So this is what we need to watch. It hit its head on this trend line, bounced back a little bit. I want to see this thing kind of maybe do a little U-shaped pattern and break through it this summer. I think it's possible that we could. I think we could hit a 80 or something like that up there this summer. And if not, maybe it's delayed till next year. But it's possible. We're sitting there. You can see what the trend lines look like. You can see the channel and what we're dealing with here. This is the gold to oil ratio. We've got this upward sloping channel. We went all the way and busted through it on the upside in an anomaly in terms of ratio and history. It's never been that cheap, not even close. And here we are at the bottom side of the channel. And what I'd like to see is this thing break to the bottom side of this channel. Now, why would this thing break the bottom of the channel? That's probably what you're asking. What driving forces would break this thing to the downside? And my answer would be a commodity supercycle. If you're in a supercycle, what that means is that more mining is going to occur. The demand for oil is going to go up. And what typically happens during a supercycle is a weakening dollar. The weakening dollar comes from real estate. So we've got a twofold hit here. We've got a supply and demand balance, which is going to increase the demand for oil. And we're going to see inflation go up, which means the dollar is going to go down, giving an inflationary push behind oil. That's what's going to push this ratio into an outperformance of oil outperforming gold. That's what I'm looking for. I want to see this downtrend break. Now, it doesn't mean that this trend line is going to break immediately. It may take another 6 months or a year to do it. Oil typically lags gold. Gold will move first, and then oil will go ballistic at some point. I can't tell you the exact timing. I can't tell you exactly how this thing's going to play out. But what I am watching for is this ratio for oil to outperform gold, and that's why it's important to watch this ratio. This is SM Energy. We've had an incredible performance off the bottom here. It's gone straight vertical, just like this downward move here. Vertical down, vertical up. We've had a couple of pause points right where we had some sellers in here, a couple of pause points very briefly, and we hit our head on this big downtrend channel line. Coming right back up, hit our head, and we've pulled back down. So now what I'm expecting is perhaps a mutated looking maybe cup, and then a little handle pattern here, and then we break to the upside. And I like to see this in the same rough time frame from 2015, about 5 years. I'd like to see in about 5 years this to go at least to $80, $90. That's what I'd really like to see, and possibly way higher than that, depending on the dynamics of oil. And I know a lot of people they're not pro oil right now, and I think that's good. Everyone's so bearish that their money's not here, and when everybody comes chasing back into it, I think this could be pushed into very high levels in terms of prices. Here is Centennial Development. I just drew this across here. I think we're going to create this kind of handle looking shape like this. So maybe we get a cup, handle formation, and then a breakout. And this has been a very steep decline. So it's possible that this could go up quite steeply depending on the price of oil. So Centennial Development looks very good. We had an ultimate low. We have a higher low. We're probably going to have this higher low in here. We've got contraction of the body candlesticks here on a weekly. This is a weekly candlestick basis. And I expect this to come back up, probably hit this resistance line, trend line, and then break on through it. Here is Callan Petroleum. Callan's looking pretty good. We've got this gigantic pattern down here. One thing I want you to notice when you look at these charts and you draw triangle patterns like this, see how this one's hugging the bottom side here? It's not hugging the top side, it's hugging the bottom. That is an indication that this is going to break to the downside. So it broke to the downside because it was hugging this, well, not because it was hugging the bottom, but usually when it hugs the bottom of these patterns, it usually breaks to the downside. Broke to the downside, blew up, just absolute blowout bottom, came up, pulled back, double bottom. We're flying up higher. I think this is going to do exceptionally well when the price of oil goes up. Now, one thing I was looking at for other charts, just to give you an FYI, the dollar is doing this is hugging the bottom side of its pattern just like this. And I think we're going to see a blowout bottom. When the dollar blows out to the downside, oil is going to go ballistic to the upside. Remember, it's an inflation component and a supply and demand component in the price of oil. And these guys are indexed or linked to the price of oil, which has that inflation index component. Here's Trillion Energy International, just to show you what we're looking at. We've got this kind of resistance line up here. We've got a downtrend line that it broke. This would have been a good spot to buy right in this corner here. Whenever they coil up like this, shot to the upside. This is a gigantic move in terms of a percentage basis, and we're pulling on back here a little bit. Now I'm trying to look for a move across, because this could be similar to a cup and handle pattern that could form, and then eventual move to the upside depending on how these guys perform. This is Reconnaissance Energy Africa. I know a lot of people like this one. I drew an upward channel line like this. That's what we're looking at. Nice big move up. We came on back. Where this thing finds resistance, it could be anywhere in this area. You might even want to draw upward trend line here. Maybe it's a little bit lower. So we could see a little bit more downside, but it depends on the price of oil. If oil takes off, I would expect this to go up. Oil pulls back, I expect this to pull back, because we're still in this upward sloping channel. Here's Transocean. This is a drilling company. We are way down here in no man's land. We got a downtrend line. It broke that downtrend line. We've got another downtrend line that you could draw through here. It's down quite a bit. So this might be a good one to look at if you think energy services are going to be needed in the future to drill more oil. I think the services companies, they usually lag a little bit, the exploration companies, just a little bit. So the exploration companies, these guys will lag. Here is Tetra Technologies, another energy service company. We hit our head on this downtrend channel, this trend line, and we're just pausing, and maybe we carve out a little like loop or something, or just shoot back on up. We'll have to watch and see what oil does, because these usually follow oil, obviously. But we did hit our head on this trend line, and we have to break this downward trend line. That's what Tetra Technologies is up against. This is Canadian Solar, so we're swapping to some renewables. I think this one looks excellent. We've got a downtrend line here. It's a massive downtrend line. It broke that trend line, and then it came back to test it. See that little mark? And this would be a good spot, I think, to purchase some. We've got a low, we've got higher lows moving up into this trend line. It looks fantastic. I see nothing wrong with this. Here's the next one. This is SunPower. Here we've got the downward trend line that it broke, and it moonshotted after that. Then it came into this resistance line here. This trend line came up, pulled back, and we're just chilling out for a little bit. And I think we're going to go and head on higher at some point. All these infrastructure bills measured in the trillions are going to be flowing and sloshing all around. looking for solar and wind companies. And that's why I'm going over these. This is Vestas Wind. Nice big bounce off of its trend line pattern, broke through, back tested. And what do we do on back tests? We buy them. And that's why I added this to the hypothetical portfolio. That's why I added SunPower. That's why I added Canadian Solar. These are all in back test mode, and I like to buy on the back tests. So this one's looking good as well. Here's Gamesa, another wind energy company. This is a little pattern here. This would have been a really nice area to buy this. But right here, we broke to the upside, little back test there, came up, pulled back, and now we're heading on up. So someone may be asking, why the change of heart against renewables? I don't have a change of heart. It's just, if they're going to throw trillions of dollars at this, it might as well be a benefactor of it. I don't necessarily believe in renewables. I don't think they're good for the environment overall, but I will make money off of it with these chart patterns looking like this, with how much money that these guys are queuing up to throw at it. I'm going to put a little bit in there. They're not very large positions, but I do think potentially if the money flows around and it's all going towards solar and wind, I'm going to put a little bit in there just in case to see these things really blow to the upside. So that's my take on it. I'm not pro wind or solar necessarily. I just think that the chart patterns look good and that a lot of money is going to be thrown at it. If you guys like this analysis, give me a thumbs up. Leave comments on what you guys think. Do you guys think you like renewables, or are you going to go nuclear, which is basically investing in uranium? I very much like uranium, but what's your opinion on the renewables? Just want to know your opinions. Leave it in the comments section. And thank you for listening. This is Finding Value.